Hello. Let's talk about functions. So, what is a function, right? I don't want to sound too 1980s informational film strip. You guys would get that reference, but anyway, a function is a machine, and that's the best way that we can express that, right? Okay. When you have a machine, something goes in and something comes out, right? The thing that goes in, we call that the input, and the thing that comes out, obviously, we call that the output. So in this case, this box represents our machine. We've defined this function as what we call f of x, right? Okay, so this is the function f. F is the name of the function, okay? Now, this machine, this function, does three things. It has three operations, right? It squares, it multiplies by three, and then it subtracts seven, right? So it adds this multiple of three, and then it subtracts seven. So these three operations are what this machine does to whatever goes in, right? So when an x is put into the function, right? This is where we put the input. It's going to square that input. It's going to multiply that input times three, and it's going to subtract seven. And then from that is going to be an output, right? So this f of x, and we call this, I'm going to put this, that's supposed to be a quote, f of x, right, is shorthand for the value or the output of f when x is the input. Okay. And that's something you want to, forgot the end. You get the idea. Okay. And that's something you want to remember when we look at some slides and some videos that are going to come up, right? We plug numbers in, we get numbers out. Now, when you plug a number in here and you get the number out, the output is f of x. So this is going to look weird, but I'm going to write it, okay? We take the input, we make that the first coordinate or the x coordinate. We take the output and we make that the y coordinate. And after a while, what we get is a series of these ordered pairs that show up looking like this graph here. Okay, so just as an example, let's take this point right here. Okay, this point on this graph has a coordinates 2, 3. And just to clarify, this graph that you see here, this is the graph of this function. Okay, so what this is saying is, all right, when we plug in 2, 3 comes out of this machine. So that's our input and our output. Okay, and that's how it gets manifested over here on the graph. Every single one of these numbers, like every single number from left to right on this number line, has a corresponding output. Like even this value right here, negative 3.7, it has an output. I don't know what it is. I'd be guessing at this point, but I can get an output for that if I plug it in, right? And that's what a function does. It does the same exact thing to whatever comes in. But it's important that you understand what all of these values are. X, whatever is inside these parentheses, that's the input. Okay. F of X, this F with the parentheses, that represents the output. We can then make that into an ordered pair, and then all those ordered pairs can be graphed to look like this.